On behalf of the Tlingit Tribes and Clan Conference Planning Committee, it's my honor to welcome you to this 2009 conference. I wanted to introduce Bill Martin. He is a person that not only has a title of president of the Central Council of Tlingit and Haida Indian Tribes of Alaska, but he also holds the spirit of tribal government. In addition, he has not forgotten his clan lineage and also the history of where we come from. He holds the values of traditional values and has shown that by all kinds of support of the Tlingit Tribes and Clan Conference this year and previously. Bill Martin is someone that it's an honor to introduce, so please help me with a warm welcome for President Bill Martin.
Thank you, Gerry. I think I know who to be my campaign chairman for next year's election. It truly is an honor for me to be in this room with so many elders who are held in high esteem, clan leaders, and the people who are here to learn from you. I am one of those people because I have much to learn. Well, I grew up in Kake and went to school in Juneau. I left here and was gone for almost 40 years. It took me that long to come back. Most people will live in Alaska and they'll retire into the south. I was kind of different. I lived in the lower 48 for a long time and came back to retire, but somehow I'm still not retired. One of these days. It's my honor to welcome you, welcome you with open arms, with an open heart, and I hope you will open yours because there is so much here to learn. This passing of information from the elders to us is something that I will never forget in my lifetime, as I have much to learn. I mentioned last night that how difficult it is to speak Tlingit. When I was in California, there was a linguist who then became the director of the Native American Indian Museum in Washington, D.C., was giving a talk to the Commonwealth Club in San Francisco. And he was talking about different languages in the country and around the world. And he said, take the Tlingit people in Southeast Alaska. Their language is 5 times harder to learn than English. Thank you. I knew there was a reason. But anyway, as I told the people last night, I intend to take it upon myself to learn Tlingit. As I mentioned that I wanted to know what the kids were saying, but I also want to know what the elders are saying. And I want to be able to look at listen to old tapes and hear the ones that were captured on tape so many years ago and understand what they were saying. Just listening to them, you can pick up with your heart their intent and a little bit of understanding, but to truly know what they're saying, you have to know the language. And so here I am, an old dog, about to learn some new tricks. But anyway, I just wanted to say that it is truly an honor to be here and to welcome you. And I also want to let you know that I danced all night trying to make it a sunny day today. I think it'll probably be this way till maybe noon or so, but anyway, it's, I lost a few steps there. But anyway, welcome to this clan conference, and we thank the Áak'w Khwáan people for allowing us to be here and to open up their homes to us. Ashish, Hawa.
We wanted to take a moment to thank the Sealaska Heritage Institute for being here, also the Sealaska Corporation. Rosita Worl is a person who is knowledgeable about the culture, who has been exemplary in being able to try and seek funding so the Sealaska Heritage Institute can be at least one that can share the education, the learning of our own culture, and especially our own language. And it's with great pride that I ask you to help me welcome Rosita Worl.
Thank you very much. And he actually was my campaign manager the first time that I ran for Sealaska. Very successful, and thank you. I'm here to honor, above all, Andy Hope. Andy Hope was a colleague and friend. His wife was a very dear friend of mine, and so his children are very, very special to me. And I think he has left a wonderful legacy in terms of not only all of the works that he did in his writings, but this clan conference, in my mind, is his legacy that I think and I hope will continue on forever and ever. He was a great person. I am pleased that he was my friend. And I'm sorry that Bill Martin left, because I was actually looking at the stimulus package, and I saw that in the stimulus package there was an increase in funding for the tribal colleges. I know that Chancellor Pugh might not be as responsive to that, but I really do think that with the increased funding, that it might be a possibility that we could look at it. And actually, Chancellor Pugh and I have always talked about, if that were a possibility, how we might be able to work together in really achieving that dream of Andy Hope. So on behalf of Sealaska, I wanted to welcome you and apologize for our chair, Senator Kake, who is in the legislature right now trying to make sure that all of that stimulus money that I think we worked so hard to try to get to put in the right buckets remain in Alaska. Yesterday, we at the Alaska Federation of Natives wrote a letter and urged both the governor and the legislature to keep all of the money. But should they find that some of the money might cause them to require policy changes or have obligations for long-term funding, we recommended that they consider contracting with tribes to administer those funds. So Senator Kake could not make it down here. So, but he did want to extend his warmest welcome to everyone here, and wish you all a very successful meeting. Insofar as Sealaska Heritage Institute, we know we'll have several of our trustees attending this clan conference, as well as a number of people sharing with you some of the things that we have done in our language. And I had a call from Ellen Hayes, and she was really on my case about language and what we should do. But I thought I'd share with you that in the 10 years since we started our language programs, we now have language programs and activities going on in about 10 different communities. In addition to that, just here in the Juneau School District alone, we have over 500 Native children and others who are studying the Tlingit language. I think that's some progress that we can be proud of, that our people, our elders, and our teachers have come together to ensure that the voices of our ancestors will always be heard on this land. I wanted to just share a little story with you about the first clan conference that we had. And Andy had asked me to talk about NAGPRA with the elders. So we had a session just with the elders, and we had to first of all teach them how to say repatriation. So all the elders said repatriation, repatriation, repatriation. And by saying that 3 times, we made it our own. We integrated repatriation into our work. And what the elders did at that clan conference was begin to examine the components of that Áak'w law. We looked at the term cultural patrimony. What did cultural patrimony mean? And I explained to them the legal requirements or the legal standards of cultural patrimony. And they shook their heads and they said, aha, Áak'w, Áak'w, Áak'w. That's what cultural patrimony is. And in the last 10 years, I'm pleased to say that with Tlingit and Haida, Central Council, our villages, and Sealaska Heritage Institute, we have managed to bring home over 200 of our ancestral spirits, bring them home to our homeland, and also to apologize to them for our remiss. And it is an apology that we offer to the spirits of our ancestors that we were remiss in not taking care of them to make sure that they would never let their homeland. So we can go back to that first clan conference and thank Andy for giving us that opportunity to begin this really important work. And I'm pleased, that, and I know that there are probably over 300 people who have signed up to attend this, that the work that Andy began will continue. And thank you so much for the honor of being here.
Thank you, Rosita. We wanted to hear from another tribal government, and there is somebody who was recently elected president of the Douglas Indian Association. Not on your program, but I wanted to make sure that they had an opportunity to say their welcome as well. She has been president, I believe, for 2 weeks, so she's an old timer, and we can ask her any questions that we want. Now that I've duly prepared Annette Ulmer, please give her a warm welcome, President of the Douglas Indian Association.
Thank you, Gerry, for that warm welcome. Yes, 2 weeks, so please forgive me if I break protocols or do not follow traditional ways. I'm a student here also to learn and share with your knowledge. So I'd like to welcome the elders, distinguished guests, leaders, scholars, and students to the 2009 Sharing Our Knowledge Southeast Clan Conference. My name is Annette Ulmer. I am Eagle Wolf from the Box House of Sitka, and I today represent the Douglas Indian Association as Tribal Council President of the Áak'w people. I present myself again, as I said, as a student in learning. As so many of you, I was a child who could hear the laughter of my parents and my grandparents speaking Tlingit, and we did know if they were speaking Tlingit, either we're in trouble or, there's some serious things happening. But it was always something in the back of your heart. You could hear and understand those words. You knew that they were there. And I do welcome, and I see so many faces out there that have a lot of knowledge to share. And I thank you and welcome you to this conference. Have a wonderful time.
This next person who is on the program is Rural Advisor to Governor Palin. And it's with a distinction that we have somebody from the governor's office that has noted an event such as the Tlingit Tribes and Clan Conference to give a welcome. Oftentimes, we are just so glad to have someone of that level to recognize and say not only hello, but also to, I would place myself in a position to even ask help from time and again to the governor's office. And I didn't give John a little heads up here that I would be doing that, but I almost feel compelled with Brother Andy's spirit to do something like that. It seems that he liked to challenge from time to time, I guess every other day, how we think and what we do and how we follow that up with our actions. But I wanted to make sure to say thank you to the governor's office for being here and to say hello. With that, please help me with a warm welcome for John Moller.
Well, good morning, everybody. And Gerry, thank you for that very warm welcome. A little story here this morning myself, and I too am here as a student. I've been absolutely blessed the month and a half that I've been in this position with the governor. I've been welcomed in Southeast, with open arms, with nothing but a helpful heart from many of your leaders. Your delegation, Senator Kukesh, Representative Thomas, believe it or not, they've all given me their cell phone numbers and have been of the utmost assistance in helping with the steep learning curve. This morning I'm very grateful and honored at the chance to welcome you to Juneau. Little story this morning, I was told by Walter that I have about 5 to 6 minutes, so in the interest of not doing what I frequently do and babble on, I actually organized some comments and thoughts this morning, actually last night. Unfortunately, between last night and this morning, my 3-year-old decided that he needed those notes more than me. And some of you are probably thinking that in the back there that this guy's got to be full of it. How can he possibly have a 3-year-old at his age? Truth of the matter is, it took me a long time to get married. Couldn't find anybody that wanted me. At any rate, again, it's a great honor to be here. I did jot down a few things here, and I'm actually an Aleut from Unalaska, and it is, like I said earlier, I'm very grateful for the warm welcome that I've gotten in Juneau and Southeast as a whole. I've actually been here for 15 years in Juneau. My parents from Unalaska, my father's name is Carl Moller. My mother's name, Irene Barikoff. Some of you may know my mother from Sheldon Jackson. As Gerry mentioned, I've been recently appointed as the governor's rural advisor, and it is a true blessing to be able to have this opportunity to work with all of you, your leaders, and be a part of Alaska and our Native community in this capacity. I feel I feel that the climate is ripe at this point with many of the things that we're facing in rural Alaska. There's many tough issues that we're up against. High cost of energy being one, the out-migration that we're seeing in so many of our small communities in rural Alaska, high unemployment, education. This is just to mention a few of the hurdles that we've had it's been identified by many folks before me. I just hope and pray that we are actually able to get some solutions, and those solutions, I believe, come from working collectively. I also think it's important to remember the accomplishments that we've had over the years. They don't go unnoticed. We have individuals like Andrew Hope, who I've not met, although since living in Southeast, I've heard and read an awful lot about the man, And certainly, what I hear and what I've read is a man of compassion, a man of great humility, and a very, very humble man. My prayers go out to Andrew's family. And one of the things that over the years, and I think this is an absolute incredible opportunity, and I thank folks like Andrew for having the vision of organizing and putting together a conference such as this. Over the years in our history, we've had folks that have tried to squash our language, squash our culture, and mostly because of not understanding or because it was different. But nonetheless, we've, because of functions like this and bringing our people together and the AFNs of the world, we have been persistent, and we've maintained and we've kept our culture, our language, and our arts intact. And it is because I believe of these types of events and people's desire to not lose, to not let their culture slip away. One of the things that's very important to me, and I've expressed this, I think, everywhere I've gone, and that is rural advisor to the governor with the issues that we're facing in rural Alaska is a huge task. And I'm going to tell you right now that I can't do that on my own. I know that I need the help of each and every one of you that have have knowledge of your particular area, of your communities, and I welcome you all to, I have an open door policy. I welcome all of you to come to me and express your views, express your concerns, and also I want to be quite clear that the importance it is to open up the dialogue, continue the dialogue, enhance the dialogue between the governor's office and the Native people of Alaska. And I just hope that you guys all take advantage of that offer and just bug me as often as you'd like. I was hoping to gather a little bit this morning before I gave this little welcoming talk, but as I mentioned, I was scrambling trying to find my notes that my son had misplaced for me. But I think as I mentioned, the climate, I believe, is right for us to make some change. So I'm looking around and I see a lot of students. And I see a lot of elders and a lot of teachers, of which are the catalyst to disseminating this knowledge and this information that we just treasure and cherish so much. And I think it's the opportunity to pass on this knowledge and our culture to the younger generations is a blessing in itself. And it's through these types of conferences that we get there. And I just encourage everybody here to continue to carry on the good work that they do. I think, I think we have a unique opportunity here. The nature of this event, which combines academic research with traditional knowledge, I think is a perfect vehicle for us to carry on our culture, our language, and our arts. And again, I'm very very grateful for the fact that you guys have accepted me into your culture. I've been invited to many dances. Nancy Barnes has invited me to the dance, and AFN, she called my name and made me dance. So again, it's a great honor. I appreciate the invite, and I'm sorry if I rambled on. My notes were brief, but thank you.
This next person is a person that I want to just take a quick moment to say thank you to the Gold Belt Corporation and also the Gold Belt Hotel and the Gold Belt Heritage Foundation. They have been very strong supporters of the Tlingit Tribes and Clan Conference this year, and it's just without exception their support and my admiration for their identification to a conference such as this, so we can provide a forum for Alaska Native traditional scholars, education scholars, students, youth people, even people such as myself. I know Dick Dauenhauer would argue that he's a youth. And so it's from the broad span and spectrum that we've been able to provide this. And it's with people such as the person who will represent Gold Belt that is going to speak next. And also we've had real good support from the city and borough of Juneau. We could always use more. I always got to put that pressure on. But we are very grateful for what support that we've received. This person is wearing two hats, as many of you have and do. But I wanted to ask you to welcome this gentleman because he's the senior assemblyman from the city and borough of Juneau. He is also vice chairman for Gold Belt Native Corporation, Mr. Randy Wanamaker.
Well, good morning. Welcome to Zentikahini, the traditional name of this place. Sharing our knowledge is very important. Sharing our knowledge will strengthen us for our future. It begins with passing on who we are and where we came from to our grandchildren and providing to them what we have learned and how we have changed. It strengthens them for their future. This community was built by many people of many backgrounds into the community that you see today. When you read the modern histories, you'll see great mention of the Slavic people who came from Europe to help build this community, to build the towns such as Douglas and Juneau and Thane, and how they built and operated the mines. You'll find very little mention of the Tlingit people. You'll find very little mention of the native people. And yet when you look in the old photographs, we are there. You'll see our grandfathers and our great-grandfathers, our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers. You'll see their faces. They were part of the history, but our history isn't recorded very well in the written languages. It is in our culture, it is in our stories, it is in the tools in our art, it is in who we are and how we lived. And it is a story that has been told. I was raised in partly the traditional way. My grandfather was a young boy who worked for Joseph Juneau and Dick Harris. He taught me about how this town was built, how Áak'w Bay changed, how Southeast Alaska began changing, and how the native people helped build everything and why they adapted the way they did. My great uncles also taught me these stories, and they passed it on to me along with my aunts and my grandaunts. These are the things that people want to know about. As an environmental scientist, I have learned more about Southeast Alaska from the stories and from our culture and from our heritage than I have learned by studying the rocks and the ice. Our stories tell us how things changed and why we changed the way we did. And these are the things that people want to know when they come here. These are the things that we need to know. At one time, it was very easy for us to keep our culture together, to keep our families and our communities together. But now we live in a different society. Over the last 100 years, it has begun changing. And through sharing our knowledge, we can preserve and protect and restore. The people who tell us these stories, the people who pass them on to their grandchildren, are the ones that are preserving our future. It is not easy for us to do this. Society has made changes for us, and we have adapted to some of these changes. We cannot live the traditional subsistence lifestyle alone anymore. We now live in a cash economy, and it has begun to disperse us. Our youth have left for employment, for military service, for a variety of reasons, to see other things, and it takes them a long time to come back. And not all of them come back. And so our heritage can be threatened with loss unless we're careful. But it is sharing our knowledge that will protect our future. It is sharing our knowledge that will give us a sense of who we are. It is sharing our knowledge that will get others to understand that we are a beautiful, vibrant, and wonderful people that they should help embrace as we embrace what we know of them. I thank you for coming and caring. I thank you for being here for our future, and on behalf of my grandchild, I thank you for the work that you're about to do. Buenos dias, Áak'w.
I'm going to have a couple of acknowledgments, but I wanted to make sure to give this person an opportunity to say welcome also. I know that with the University of Alaska, they are offering 2 credits, and all you need to do is contact Barbara Cadiente Nelson, and she was over there by the registration desk. Is Barbara in the room? Has Barbara left the room? So go ahead and please contact her. Just ask about the University of Alaska and how to apply for the 2 credits, and she will work with you. This person is the chancellor for the University of Alaska, and he has worked with Barbara and also Brother Andy on the Clan Conference and trying to get the mainstream post-secondary education system involved in the Clan Conference, hooked into the traditional Alaska Native elders and the scholars. And so it's with great pleasure that we ask this gentleman to speak. And please give our Chancellor a very warm welcome, John Pugh.
First, I'd like to welcome everyone who's from outside of Juneau to here, and I'd particularly like to welcome all of the elders that are here, the honorable elders, and thank you for being here to help share your knowledge today. We definitely have academics here and others from education, but your knowledge and your background and your ability to share and with us is appreciated and is extremely important to all of us who are in the educational area. And so thank you very much for being here today. I want to thank all the people who were up here earlier, certainly Gerry for his work as executive director of the Clan Conference, but also to Bill Martin, who's been very helpful at Tlingit and working with UAS with scholarships and other areas. Certainly Rosita Worl, who has worked with us for many, many years, was a part of our faculty for a long period of time, and Alaska Heritage has been a partner with the university in trying to not only preserve the languages but preserve the culture and to carry it forward, not just preserve in some way in an archival way, but to make it a living language and culture, and they continue to do that and continue to partner with us. I look forward to working with Ms. Ulmer as she goes forward in that and your work in the Douglas organization. And of course, I've worked with Randy Wanamaker and his role at Gold Belt as well as many of the other people at Gold Belt, but also on the assembly, and he does a great job for this community as an assemblyman. I think you're in your 3rd term, Randy, if you're right. And we appreciate what you do for the community. John, I appreciate what you had to say, and it's a tough role that you have, and it's great to have you here and representing the governor's office, and I agree with you that we have to be your support to accomplish the kinds of things that you're trying to do for not only rural Alaska, but for all Native peoples in Alaska. So thanks for being here, and I hope that I can speak for those of us who really care about Alaska that and the issues that are concerns in rural Alaska, that we will support you and try to be with you in that. I want to say something just to Gerry and to Ellen Hope who's here in the back, and just thank you for honoring your brother and being here. And I know that, you know, some of you, Andy he was aggressive, he was assertive, and at times he could really be a pain, you know, in terms of getting what he wanted to do. And all of you who know Andy know that. But Andy was a person who had a vision and was trying to move that vision forward. And sometimes when people are doing that, it takes a little bit of that really sticking people and getting in their face and continuing to just bother them. And he certainly did that with the traditional education system, and whether it be K-12 or higher education, he felt like they needed to make changes, and he fought to try to get those. And he fought to have, as Rosita mentioned, the tribal college, and it hadn't worked out yet in this community, but there are some pieces of it at the University of Alaska Southeast that are a part of what has happened because of those pushes, those tugs, those, you know, in-your-face kind of attitudes that Andy brought about. Not just Andy, but certainly he was the leader in that. And I wanted to talk a minute just about those, so that, well, at first I want to talk the Alaska Native Language Program at UAS. It would not have moved forward in the way it has without Dick and Nora Dauenhauer and their work there, and Florence Shakely. Florence has been teaching there ever since I was the dean. I'd say it's close to 15 to 20 years now that Florence has been working in there. And I really appreciate what she has done to keep the Tlingit language program going. We now have Haida taught throughout the Southeast as well in that Tlingit language program. And we now have students who are out in the school system who are teaching, as Rosita mentioned, with the 500 students here in Juneau who are taking a Tlingit language program. That is because there are students who have gone through the language programs throughout Southeast, the University of Alaska Southeast. So that's really important, and I think it's something that we have to continue to get support, not just from, you know, the state, but from the tribal groups, from everyone that will show that support and really continue to try to work together to strengthen those language programs throughout our region here, throughout the state for sure, Randy, but I'm speaking more about our region in Southeast. We also have Alaska Native and Rural Center at UAS, and sort of the directors, I call them the directors in a way, but Colleen James is here, but Lyle James, her husband, also helps on a lot of it and they're here and have done an incredible job of working with the Alaska Native students that come to the university, helping them to really be a part of that university and to understand what it takes to get your degree, and to help them and advise them about where they're going, what they want to do, and how can they achieve their goals. And they've done incredible kinds of cultural events on the campus that involved the students, but also spread to all of the students on the campus, so they understand what the area, where are they at, what is this place, and the place, of course, where we are in Juneau. The campus itself is, of course, the Áak'w Khwáan, and it's their country. And Marie Olson is here, who has been a great leader and worked with the students from the Áak'w Khwáan, and I want to just thank Marie in this. Recently, she's helped us on totem pole project that we're working on, putting an eagle totem pole up at UAS. It'll be carved this summer out there on campus, and Marie has helped with the clan and the tribe to really get the story. It's not really the story, it'll be the clan crest, and to be able to get that pole put up at UAS. But she's been helpful in many more ways in terms of helping us with the oral histories and working with the students there to understand that sense of place, that the university is really a part of the history, an incredibly long history of the native peoples of this area. And then I'd like to say the Native Oratory Contest. You may have seen in the recent, just in the last couple of weeks in the newspaper, great participation by our students. You know, the winners in that contest, one of them was Ishmael Hope, of course, Andy's son, and he's an incredible storyteller, and he won the area in storytelling. He will go up to Anchorage to present his story, and I am sure that that Ishmael will make Andy proud once again, as he'll be first place. I can't imagine that anybody could beat Ishmael in terms of his storytelling. But Amanda Bremner, who, what did you say? Oh, yeah. But also Amanda Bremner from Yakutat was a winner in a couple of categories, and Amanda has really been a star in learning the Tlingit languages back in Yakutat, working in her school district with students and completing her degree by distance. And then she will come back and finish her master in the art of teaching program. And she's tremendous. She won in a couple of categories, and then Gloria Anderstrom won in the other. But the contest has been a great fun for all of us. There was a lot of participation from the community, from elders, from others in the community, and taking a part of that. So I want to end with a very important program and hopefully encourage you, if you live in other communities particularly, to let people know about our Preparing Indigenous Teachers for Alaska Schools. It's called PETUS, if you've ever heard of the program. And it works with Alaska Native students to become teachers in our school system. And as you know, we really need teachers. Across the state, we have probably 4 to 5% of our teachers are Native Alaskan, and the number of Native Alaskan students in our school system is now closing in on 25 to 30% across the whole state, and of course in some areas much, much higher. But we need Alaska Native teachers, and this program works with Alaska Native students to enable them to become teachers in the school system, and to understand their culture and move forward so that they can be great models for the Alaska Native students in the K-12 system. So I would encourage you, Jackie Tagaban is the head of that program, but I would encourage you, if you want to, I see Colleen here, she certainly has advised a lot of PETA students, is willing to talk to any of you if you have a student you think might be interested. And we have mentors throughout the high schools in the Southeast in the schools who can work with students who are in high school or middle school who are thinking about that. So I would just encourage you to get involved. Without having those teachers, we can't make the progress that we all want in terms of preserving and carrying forward the culture and sharing this knowledge, which is what this is all about. So again, I would hope that you will take that message back, and we're very excited about having Alaska Native students come in and go into our education program, and we would love to have more of them. We have a large number now, but we need a lot more. So thanks. And once again, thank all of you who are here or sharing your knowledge. And as a sort of a non-native, I just would like to say I thank all of you for that. It's been, in my almost 40 years in Alaska, it's been one of the most important things in my life, has been a part of the sharing of that knowledge. The Alaska Native cultures enrich the state in a way that I would hope that everybody understands, because it's remarkable. And don't ever give that up, and don't ever take a back step, because you are the people, the first peoples of Alaska, and you deserve that place and should remain in that place. And the way to do that is do like Andy did. In your face. So, thanks.
Thank you, John. We look forward to a couple of things being addressed. One is the native hire. It seems like we need to get beyond the janitorial stage for Alaska Natives being employed in the education system. We need educators and administrators and front desk personnel to at least reflect the percentage of Alaska Natives that reside in Alaska. The other one is curriculum. We really need to talk about curriculum as we go forward. I know Andy talked about place-based education. He also tried to talk about Alaska Native science. Well, there's an awful lot of knowledge and wisdom that we need to get incorporated into the University of Alaska system. We, as the Tlingit Tribes and Clan Conference, commit ourselves to working with you to be part of the solution, not just to challenge people around here, but I think that we have, by way of those people who are in this room, the ability and skill to lend ourselves as part of the solution. So we really appreciate you being here. We really appreciate your commitment, and we really appreciate your relationship with Brother Andy. And we know very intimately the words that you said about him. So G'nakshish. Wanted to call my sister Kathy forward, Kathy Hope Erickson. I want to call my Aunt Ellen Hope Hayes forward, if you're still in the room. And I wanted to call Andy Hope IV forward. I just wanted them to stand here so you could see some of the people that were intimately close to Andy in bloodline. And I don't know if Ishmael is in the room. Last night I spoke to the people who were at the clan conference, and Ishmael was the only surviving child of Brother Andy that was there last night. But a lot of you, when you talk about Andy and you say, oh, his son, I just wanted to make sure that you know that there are 4 children that Brother Andy had, 2 from a previous marriage. Christopher John Hope, who is actually named after his grandmother and grandfather, Christine Littlefield and John Hope, Christopher John. We also have Tillie, who is named after one of her grandmothers, Tillie Howard Hope. Then we have Andy Percy Hope IV, who is with us on stage today. And then Ishmael. Ishmael is the youngest. So when you say Andy's child, sometimes I know that it gives a little discomfort to Ishmael because he has a level of sensitivity and wants to people to know that he has 3 other siblings. So we make sure with pride that we recognize the 3 other children that most of you are not familiar with, of Andrew John Hope III. Sister Kathy was someone who Brother Andy recruited oftentimes, who is on stage with me. He recruited Kathy and me oftentimes since we were little kids to sell juice on Catlean Street to those passing by. He also was able to get some movies, and then he was able to turn our living room into a little theater and sold tickets, so we were pretty busy with admissions and trying to sell soda pop and candy bars. And then also he did these little publishing of tiny books of the Haida language, the Tlingit language. It was really the ABCs of Tlingit language. I was able to, I got credit for being one of the collators. I think Kathy got credit for typing because she did that. And so he recruited us up through till the day he passed away and walked into the woods. Kathy was there at the first clan conference and got recruited. But I just wanted to not only see her face, but I wanted to call on her. I don't call on her impromptuly very often, but I wanted her just to say a couple of words other than what she said behind me just now. Oh my gosh.
Gerry's getting more and more like Andy every day. Thank you, Gerry. I'm really pleased to see you all here. It's one thing that I'm really angry about Andy is for dying and making it apparent to me that I need to try to fill some of, at least the toe portion of his shoes. I know I can never do that, but it's a tremendous responsibility he has left behind, and I hope to take up. I know I can't take up very much of that, but I hope to take forward some, and I thank you all for being here.
I know Aunt Ellen is going to speak at least 2 times more and be involved in the clan conference workshops throughout. I know she's going to speak Thursday night, for example, and then the tribute dinner, I called on her to speak on that night for Friday night as well to complement the Raven side, as Gil Truitt will be representing the Eagle side. And she is an acclaimed speaker because she has such a background in the Alaska Native Brotherhood. I think she was the first woman to become an A&B president, and that was from Sitka Camp Number 1. And so I know that when I call on her to speak, she is able to do that very well. Please welcome Ellen Hope Hayes.
This is your conference. This is the time of sharing. This is the time of learning. And this is a time of tribute, especially for Andy Hope III. It's been wonderful to be a born-again Indian. That's how I saw myself, and I met Rosita on the street here, I think here in Juneau, and told her that that's who I was. At that time, it was commonly heard on the street and in gatherings, born-again Christians. And I thought, there's something different about me. It's okay to be Indian. I could be converted to being born-again Indian. Then I remembered things that I learned from grandparents who were also converted away from being Indian, to lay that aside and put emphasis where it had to be, issues of the day, and that was citizenship, so that we could sue the federal government of the United States. So I'm just taking this moment to say I'm number 7 of 14 children born to Andrew and Tillie Hope of Sitka. And so I was wandering around and being a part of the Cottage People, which were converted people, and the Indian village. And there I tried to play with my playmates, whose first language was Tlingit. And my first language was English, missionary English. So I had to try to find an interpreter as a little kid. What did they say? Why are they laughing? What are they doing? And I just thought they didn't want to tell me. I didn't realize much later that they couldn't interpret Tlingit to English. It was a very hard task I was asking them to do. And I just bugged them and pulled their sleeve and asked them a lot of questions. So these are just little bits of things that race through my mind, and you will also be able to do that. And you write that down. Carry around your journal. That's your assignment. Carry around your journal of thoughts and visions that come to you never expected. But write it down. Submit it. Even try to get credit for it. Because those images are going to be a testimony for your grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So I didn't know I was going to give you an assignment, but that's what happened this morning. So pleased to see all of you. Thank you.
Not too often do the nephews and nieces of mine want to get in front of the microphone, with the exception of one, Ishmael. And when he does, I'm really proud because of his presentation, his knowledge, and his dedication to the culture. Actually, it's two cultures because their mom was Inupiaq from Katzeek, as you know. And so is his older brother here, Andrew Percy Hope IV. And I wanted him to just say a couple of words, so please give him some encouragement and a warm welcome to Andrew Percy Hope IV.
I'd just like to thank everybody for showing up. I know a lot of you came from far away, and you're really proud of your culture. So spread that pride and appreciate it for only just a couple days. Just say hello to your neighbors. Just spread that wisdom. Let it be a part of you. And then we can all appreciate what is and what we're without. I think for just a couple days, we can say hello.
I wanted to bring forward the I have a couple announcements, and then give them a chance. Where's a drum? Please give them a round of applause. Yeah, right up in front, Walter, if you would. And Peter, Sergei. I don't know if Steve Henrikson is he still outside? He's doing registration, so we could harass him out there at the table. Dick and Nora Dauenhauer, if you'll come forward. Sarah Dibdahl, are you here? Is Marcia Hotch here and Harold Jacobs here? Yeah, if you want to bring them in, Sergei, that's fine. I just wanted to, while they're coming forward, go ahead. Thank you, Sergei. Wanted to make a couple announcements. Hearthside Books has 2 tables out front. They're only going to be here for 1 day. There's quite a bit of excellent reading material that they have on their table, and we'd like to make sure that you have an opportunity to see the books that we have referenced and some of those who have worked in this clan conference published, to take a peek at those or have an opportunity to look at them with easy access while you're here and not have to go through the weather and etc. Rocks and ice that is on the streets. So they're going to be here just for today. Also, we referenced the University of Alaska. 2 credits go to talk with Barbara Cadiente Nelson, and she will work with you on making sure that you go through the process of getting those 2 credits from the University of Alaska. There's going to be a Lydia George Memorial viewing at the Alaska Memorial Park Mortuary. That's from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the family, in honor of the family, we are going to set up an opportunity for donations. And what we decided to do is pick the tallest guy in the front line here, Walter Porter, so he'll be easy to spot. So if you want to give some money to him, I wanted to also recognize Cyril George from Mangoon. He's a traditional native scholar, an elder, and he's going to be going over to Lydia George's memorial and funeral. Memorial is Friday, and the funeral is Saturday over in Mangoon. If you'd have Cyril George stand, please, so we could recognize him and give him a round of applause. We all know that funeral expenses is pretty expensive. It's even more so in the villages. And so, Walter, if you'd raise your hand, and we'll give him donations, a dollar here, a dollar there, and that way we can give it to the family later on today before they take the ferry tomorrow. And the Alaskan Memorial Park mortuary is out in the valley. If you need some directions, or we could give you the name and we'll get the phone number if you would like to assist in directions to go out there to see the family. Also, we have t-shirts this year, and we also have the DVDs for the 2007 Clan Conference. There's 39 discs, but we have the discs available out front, and we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to go through. You could either select which disc you want, or if you're an avid fan as we are, there's 39, get all 39 of them. In addition, we're proud to announce the Tlingit Tribes and Clan Conference Maps 5th edition that was published this year is just out, and we have them along with the DVD and t-shirts out on the table there. So make sure to get your updated Tlingit territory maps and find out where all the clan houses are. We also wanted to announce one quick item. There's going to be a BW meeting, noon o'clock, every day of the clan conference. And there's a few people that are leading that, but wanted to make sure that you know David Katzeek. If you would wave, David. Where's David Katzeek? Oh, okay. He went out to the valley. Well, anyway, he's not here, and so we wanted to make sure that you know that there's going to be a Bill W meeting noon every day. Oh, there's David Katzeek. Wave again, please, David. David, wave. Okay. He's also running for mayor for Áak'w Khwáan. No. Okay, so with that, we want to, as a planning committee, thank you for attending. We want you to take advantage of the vendors. We're going to take a break till 10:30, and so it's going to be a brief break, at which time Walter Porter is going to take the lead on the next session.